Hi guys. So as you know, I am a fan of the London system. I have played many games in that opening, and it does provide White a very solid foundation where he can of course hold the draw if he wants to, and he also has some decent attacking chances in some specific variations. However, there has been a certain system against the London system that has been causing the white players a lot of issues, and that is the system with Queen c7 and Knight d7. Now, this is the system that was first played by Magnus Carlsen against Wesley So, and he managed to win two convincing games against Wesley in 2017. So since then, we have come a long way, but now the system is well known and every chess player knows about it. I have played it as black, and I have also faced it as white, and I really hate playing against this system, and this system alone is the number one reason that I have not been playing the London so often, and I've decided to learn other openings as well. So I'm going to show you the system, and we're going to look at Padmini's game today. She played this against her opponent from Mongolia, and she played a fascinating game and absolutely crushed her opponent with black against the London system. So let's have a look at this game. So guys, the game started with d4, knight f6, bishop f4, and now Padmini decided to play d5, and after e3, e6, knight f3, bishop d6, bishop g3, castles, knight d2, c5, c3, and this is the position we often reach in the London system, and here black usually plays a move like knight c6, which would transpose to the bishop d6 system, and I really love playing against this as white. However, there has been a recent development in the past couple of years where black has started playing this move queen c7. Now this is very tricky because he is kind of prepared he's preparing himself to kind of counter in the center with e5, and usually what happens is if you play knight c6 and let's say bishop d3, and now I play queen c7, you can actually capture this pawn and the queen's path is blocked to the pawn. And if I try to play queen e7, then you will play a move like knight e5, and I still cannot manage to play e5 without giving up the bishop pair, which is not really convenient for black. So that's why the move order has been changed. They play queen c7 nowadays. I personally have played this. And now the issue is that if you capture on c5, I can capture with the queen. So what happens after bishop d3, which was played in the game? And now instead of the knight going to c6, the knight goes to d7, and this prevents any issues with dc5, and now black is forcing through with e5, and there is absolutely no problem for black now. And this does give black equality, in fact a slightly better game I would say, and even though white has his chances, but I think black has comfortably equalized her. However, how she managed to play in the remainder of the game is a lesson in how to play against the London system, and that's why I'm going to run through this pretty quickly. So castles, bishop takes c3. Now that white has castled, now you can capture on g3, because after capturing there is no opening of the h file. So that is one important element. Before, black was not ready to capture on g3 because then the h file would be open and that would give white attacking chances. So bishop takes, pawn takes, and now she played e5. If you are playing against a low rated opponent, I can also suggest the move b6 with the idea to go bishop b7 and only then to go e5, because white cannot really prevent you from going e5. So this is also another option to look at, but e5 is also perfectly fine. Now white played e4, which is very double-edged because it does give white some development advantage, but on the other hand she will have an isolated pawn, and black should be perfectly fine I think here. So she captured on e4, knight takes, bishop takes, knight f6, bishop c2. So here she played e4, packing the knight, knight g5, bishop f5, rook e1, rook a e8, and as you can see, this pawn is very decent for black because it creates some sort of space advantage for black, and also black is threatening to capture here, and this also can be a bit awkward for white to face, because if he captures with the pawn, then he will be left with an isolated pawn, and if he plays with the queen, then rook d8 can also gain a tempo sometimes. So here white decided to kind of exchange pawns, but this was not a correct decision, because after queen takes g3, knight takes e4, bishop takes, rook d8, and as you can see, the queen is very close to white's king, and even though the material is equal, I think black is simply better here. And now it's the crucial moment. So what do you think black should play here, guys? Because black is technically a pawn down. White has just captured this pawn on b7, But here black has a very crucial move which will put all of white's play into question and will try to attack the white king. So try to find the move here for black, guys. Pause the video and try to find the move. So as you can see, white has the light square bishop and his dark squares are the real weakness. That's why playing knight to h5, playing it h5 where it can go to f4 where it will threaten mate, and also knight h3 check with knight f2 fork or queen f2 mate coming up. So rook c1, knight f4, so rook c2, rook takes d4, now the famous tactic of deflection. So if white had to, let's say, play queen b1, if she were to capture here, then I think you can just capture here, and after king h2, queen h4 check, king g1 and knight h3, and you basically win the queen. So this was the important tactic. So she had to play queen b1 here, and after queen b1, simply rook d6, trying to bring the rook here, and rook e4, rook h6. Already this is losing, so white tried to sacrifice in exchange for some counterplay, but it's non-existent here and black was simply winning. And after a couple of moves like this, she even won a pawn, and after rook c5, she played h6, just kind of shoring up this pawn, and now white blundered again with king g1, and after rook f3, the pawn is pinned on g2, white simply had to resign. This was a classic lesson in how to destroy the London system, and Padmini has showed us how the queen c7 system along with knight bd7 is a great weapon for black against the London system, and this also helped India to qualify for the finals, which will be tomorrow. This was an important lesson and I hope you guys learned something. If you liked the video, do like and subscribe and check out other content on the channel. We have plenty of interesting videos to choose from, and as always, do take care.